A blank sheet of paper has value. Now, if you're not a creative person, you may do what I saw somebody do today at the office. I left a blank sheet of paper out because it was from another area and I was going to use it. And then I went to the back and I got my coffee and came back, and dude picked up the blank sheet of paper and crumbled it up and threw it away. It wasn't like scratch paper. It wasn't like this, like a piece of scratch paper from the printer. It was a whole. Now, as a writer or an artist, what do you see? When I was a kid, I'd be at my mom's office and I would be fucking love coloring. You know, I'm the black kid with I fucking love coloring. Blank sheet of paper is an opportunity. Blank sheet of paper is an opportunity. Or you want to write, you got to write stuff, write your notes, or write your outline for your movie or whatever the fuck it is. And I know some people are looking at you like, Bond, you are crazy. You're complaining about somebody throwing out a blank sheet of paper. Let me ask you this question. When you go to the dollar store or the Kmart, well, not Kmart, Walmart, to the school section, is there writing on those sheets of papers in those notebooks? Or do these notebooks come with writing in them already? Or are they blank? Would you buy a notebook at the store that had somebody's notes in it and you pick it up? Oh shit, somebody's notes are in this notebook at the store. Let me leave it at that, because those are not my ideas. Those are somebody else's ideas. You're not going to go to the store and look at it and be like, oh, fuck, these notebooks are blank. The notebooks are supposed to be blank. Just like that sheet of paper is supposed to be blank. But this is like a fucking test that I could do to see if I need to hire, if I should hire somebody or not. It's really fucked up. I'm like, hey, let me just test people out and put the camera up and have two people come in. Okay, you come in for the interview and you come in. So you had these two guys people. You have two people come in for an interview and you had this piece of paper laying on the table. The motherfucker that picks up this piece of paper and crumbles it up and throws it in the garbage, they don't get the job. They don't get to work for me. Because that shows me that you're more concerned with how you look, or you're more concerned with the place being tidy. Let me tell you something. Creative people are not tidy people. They have post-it notes. Post-it notes and shit on things all through the notebook. Stuff like that. There's just stuff. Everywhere. Creative people and people who are getting work done, they have stuff all over the place, and they have a system. There's a method to their madness. You don't want a neat freak working for you. What if you had everything laid out on your desk in the order of how you were going to work on it, because you had to put it all together in your story or your TV series or whatever the fuck it is. And you come back and your fucking desk is neat. All the stuff you had in the areas that you had them, some other motherfucker came in and they set it up the way they wanted it. That sounds like a control freak to me. They set up your fucking desk. So that shit'll get you fired. Or you have a motherfucker come in and do with that like that. You got blank sheet of paper there. Or you got like some notes, or you just got shit that looks messy to other people. But you about to use that stuff. What's all this paper mache? What's all this colored paper doing? Oh, we don't need. This is making the place look cluttered. Let me make this place look nice and neat. Who the fuck is looking at the fucking studio? Who's looking at the studio? Who's looking at the writer's room? Who's in there like, oh my god, this animation department has paper. No shit. No shit, motherfucker. Of course the animation department has paper everywhere. It's an animation department. We use paper. That will get you banned from the writer's room, the animation department, the art department for the movie studio, where they actually design the Sith lords and shit. You can't go in there and clean up. Don't do that. You don't do that. I know it sounds nitpicky, but dude, this shit right here, ha! This is scrap paper. You see what I put on there? A thumbnail of the next movie title that I'm going to work on. Feofi's in the Shell. And I got my little hashtags. My William and Gibson. Probably be Mr. Williams and Mr. Gibson. Because it's going to be sci-fi. But Feofi's in the Shell on this worthless note paper that'll be like, well, see this part right here. You can crumble this part, throw that out. But not this part. See, when you're a creative person, you know, you don't throw all damn paper. You find a use for that shit. Like when I was a little kid in my mom's office and they had the paper, I'm drawing fucking color. I love fucking coloring. I love fucking coloring. Okay? So just, it says a lot. It says a lot when people do things. Because it shows you what they value. And it's almost like what they value nothing. We gotta make this place neat. Like, why? You are not a creative person. The objective is to get something done. This is an analysis for, this is just a breakdown analysis for a paper that I have to write. But I wrote a whole fucking movie. This is a whole movie. It's not screenplay format because that would be like 100 pages is a movie. 100 page typed is a movie. It's a screenplay format. So 100 pages, I think they figure that's what, 60 pages could be 60 minutes, if I remember correctly. 60 pages could be 60 minutes. So the other 40 pages it's an hour and 40 minutes if it's a 100-page screenplay. So, but this right here, this is all I need right here to write a whole movie. I got dialogue in here. I got I mean, this is like so easy. Thanks to Studio Binder. You know, the first act, you introduce your characters, but I have to have it set in my universe based on the Bond Comics annuals that I publish. So I spend the first 30 minutes introducing the world that they live in and the history and the gods and the public domain characters, the aliens that have been to Earth. I give you a little of all of that. There's going to have to be exposition because there's a lot. But I have an exposition character because I have a guy who's immortal. So there's the exposition character. So first 30 minutes, we're really letting you know, okay, this is not the Marvel universe. This is not the DC universe. This is the Bond Comics universe because all these certain gods and certain aliens have been Earth already. And there's all these countries that don't exist in DC and Marvel because I have the copyrights to a lot of these countries. Some of them are public domain countries. But all of that setup is in the first 30 minutes. Of course, we get to know the crew because it's not a superhero movie. It's a team movie with pirates. So we got to introduce the crew. and introduce our 5 character types for a team, because there's always the leader. There's a smart guy, the scientist. There's a I always use 2 women. There's a crazy chick, and then there's a like a cool minority chick, and then there's the immortal guy who's like not a monster. They don't know what it is. So, and then it goes through the natural progression of a movie, because they're going on a voyage from point A to point B, and it's like, this should be, no, it ain't, because they're pirates, and that's not the issue. All they got to do is go from country A to country B and pick up something and come back. But in between them, in the Atlantic, are the Brits and the Spaniards at war, bombing each other's commercial ships. So they got to try to avoid that. Then, of course, the Lovecraft mythos is real. The gods are real. All the mythological creatures are real. So you gotta avoid the authorities, as they might call themselves, the Brits. And we're not gonna worry about the French too much, because while the Brits and the Spaniards are fighting the French, no, the French are in it, but you have to look it up on Wikipedia. I'm not gonna give you a history lesson. During this war of commerce, it was the Brits versus the Spaniards. The French were in a minor role, but the French aren't going to attack pirates. They don't give a fuck about what pirates are doing. Only the Brits and the Spaniards would care. And so they got to avoid them and monsters of some sort. Then they get to the place and they find the thing that they're supposed to retrieve for the country that they work for as privateers. Then they head back. But when they get to the place, they get to see things that maybe what they really wanted as opposed to what they thought they wanted. And there's a mystery, because there's a special quality that one of the characters has in their character analysis, and that has to be used. And it's also good to have a mystery going on the ship as a subplot that has to be dealt with later when we get to the Duomont or Duomonit, or whatever it's called. And then things are revealed, and then we head back, and really, honestly, the big stuff is in the middle, like in Spider-Man 2. The big battle in Spider-Man 2 was in the middle, and then everything after that was like falling action. The fights after that were smaller, because we had our big fight in the middle of the movie, which was great. So that kind of, I'm following that Spider-Man 2 format, where the big thing happens in the middle of the movie that gets everybody hyped. And then after that, there's all these revelations of things, but that's okay, because all these revelations of things lead to the next movie. We're just setting up at that point. Once they reach where they're supposed to get to, it's all set up for the next movie. There are conflicts that develop that will have to be resolved in another movie. And the fact that some people, what they fought for or what they worked for, maybe they didn't really want that, but you got 5 characters, so it's going to you get 5 different results by the end of the movie. It's not one hero, it's 5. So, but yeah, there's going to be some reveals. And yeah, I really like that, how when we get to right before they get to their destination, that's when all the reveals come out. And yeah, we're really setting up the next 2 movies before we really even get to the end of the movie. Probably like 20 minutes left, and we're already setting up the next movie. But I like that. And of course, there's just, they're in the past, so there's all these different possibilities, because I'm using the books that I already published, the Bond Comics annuals, the Bond Comics Annual 2020, Revenge of the Yes, especially. there's so many aliens and gods and mixtures of characters in there that would show up on Sound Man or show up on Duck Girl, but this is the setup that leads to Sound Man and Duck Girl. So Duck Girl is like my Rey in The Force Awakens, and Sound Man is like my Obi-Wan in I would say episode 2. Sound Man is kind of like Obi-Wan in episode, yeah, episode like more like episode 2 maybe. Yeah, you know what? Yeah. In Sound Man 3 and 4, Sound Man Crescendo, he really is like Obi-Wan in episode 2. I'll say that. And then Duck Girl would be like Rey because she shows up later. And Duck Girl's like Spider-Man because Spider-Man shows up in Captain America Civil War. He shows up later, which he's supposed to because he's younger than them. So, but by that time, the way the world looked for Rey in Star Wars in her 3 movies, that's how the world should look for Duck Girl. We can go all the way back to what happened in Fiefs of the Fiefdom when we do the Duck Girl trilogy or tetralogy. So.